Okay, so we are going to move on to the transfer requirements to go on to a UC campus. And so the UC campuses, there are 9 campuses that students could transfer to. Remember, there's that 10th campus, University of California at San Francisco, which is not for undergrad. But the rest of the campuses you could transfer over to. Our most popular campuses for our SRJC students are UC Davis and UC Berkeley and UC Santa Cruz. So students tend to stay further north than go down south. Doesn't mean we don't have students that do transfer down south, but our highest numbers are at those 3 campuses. The majority of the UC campuses are on the quarter system. Berkeley and UC Merced are on the semester system, just like SRJC. So that's just something to think about, to be aware of. If you're looking at a UC, you definitely want to make sure that the quarter system is a good fit for you. So remember, that's going to move fairly quickly. It's going to be a 10-week quarter instead of a 16-week semester. And so it just varies by students. Some people really like that. They feel that they learn the information and then they're tested on it a lot sooner. Some people need longer time to absorb the information and process it prior to being tested on it. So it just varies for students, and you'd want to be aware of that and research if that's a good opportunity for you. So the UCs began in 1869 with only 10 faculty members and 38 students. And today there's over 280,000 students within the UC system. So it's grown quite a bit. And in California's Master Plan for Education, the UCs were deemed as the primary state-supported academic research institution. So besides the UC campuses, there are also the research institution or the research labs across the state. There's actually one in Bodega. And so you can drive by and see that. And I think they have even tours open for people. I have a friend who went to UC Davis who actually did an internship out there. And then there's the lab in Livermore, and there's a lab down south somewhere. So, and then the faculty members have to do research as well. So lots of research happening at the UCs. As an undergrad, you also have the opportunity to conduct research. And if that's something that is of interest to you, you want to look into that right away as a transfer student so that you have that opportunity. The UCs have exclusive jurisdiction for doctoral degrees. So as I mentioned last week, the CSUs can or are offering doctoral degrees on their campuses, but they're in conjunction with a UC campus. And then the UCs also have the law schools, medicine, dentistry, and vet schools. So the minimum transfer eligibility requirements, you need those 60 UC transferable units. And so that's any course at SRJC that's numbered 1 to 47. If you take a course that's numbered 48 or 49, it will transfer, but they don't count that for the 60 transferable units for admissions purposes. So maybe you take, Chem 48 or 49, you're doing a special project with a faculty member, or you're a TA for a class, something like that. That's what those 48 and 49 level courses are. And then I also just want to mention that the UCs have limitations on some transfer courses. So let me actually bring up a website here. And so one of the biggest ones is kinesiology units or activity courses. So they limit that to 4 units. And so if you take a PE class every semester, and let's say you accumulate 10 units of activity courses, they limit that to only 4 units. So if you're an athlete, that's something to be aware of. If you just take those kines classes for your own state of mind, that's great, but the UC will only count 4 units towards the 60. So there are others as well. So I'm on the articulation website for SRJC, articulation.santarosa.edu. If you go into students and counselors and go to the bottom, there's the UC limitations. And I'll have a link to this in the resources. Oh, great. Page not found. I literally was just on this earlier today. All right, let's try again and see. She may be playing with it. Looks like she is possibly playing with it. So anyways, this sheet would show things like History 17.1 and 18.1. You can only earn 3 units for that. And the reason being is that the UCs see the content as too similar. Another example is Child Development 10 and Psych 4. So again, they see the content of the courses being too similar, and so they only allow you to count 3 units instead of 6. So you'll want to go back and look at that. I will check the link to make sure that it's working before this goes live for you. As I mentioned with the CSUs, the UCs also only accept 70 transferable units towards your degree. So again, you can transfer as many units as you want. They're just going to cap it at the 70. So you just want to be aware of that again, you can't show up with 100 units and only need 20 more to get a degree from a UC. So they cap you at 70 units for units being accepted towards your bachelor's degree. So general education requirements, you can complete the IGETC, and what's recommended is that if you're in a low unit major that you can do IGETC. So that's the intersegmental general education transfer curriculum. It's the pink sheet if you've seen a counselor before, and we will have a video on IGETC this week as well, so you can review that. And so IGETC is not a requirement in most cases. So there are certain majors or even certain schools within the UC where they want IGETC completed or it's a requirement. And the biggest one is the College of Letters and Sciences at UC Berkeley. So if you are looking at a major within the College of Letters and Sciences, let's say English, then IGETC is a requirement and it must be completed. So you want to pay attention to that. So there are a few other programs at different UCs that IGETC is a requirement for, but it's, an exception and not a general rule. So, but just be aware of UC Berkeley College of Letters and Sciences. That's the biggest one. So you can complete IGETC, which would meet admissions requirements, or you can complete the 7 UC transferable GE courses, which we recommend if you're in a high unit major, as in the sciences or engineering. So the 7 UC transferable GE courses are 2 classes in English composition, and that would be English 1A, and then English 1B or English 5, Philosophy 5, or one of the comms classes that is on the IGETC sheet in Area 1. So it doesn't have to be an English class. And then you need 1 math class, a transferable level math, and then 4 additional courses from at least 2 of the following disciplines: arts and humanities, social and behavioral sciences, physical and biological sciences. So if you are a biochem major, you're going to have plenty of physical and biological sciences. You would have your, bio series, so maybe bio 10, bio 2.1, bio 2.2, bio 2.3, maybe some chemistry would be required, Chem 1A, Chem 1B, possibly 12A, 12B. So it just kind of depends on the major. So you have plenty of those. So now you need to have an arts or a humanities or a social and behavioral sciences class. So a history class, a psych class, an art class, philosophy, anything, just one other class. It can even come from AP. And then the minimum GPA for California residents is a 2.4, but not what we recommend students have. So you definitely want to go higher for the UCs. So realistic transfer, you want those 60 UC transferable units. The UCs are huge on lower division major preparation being completed. And so you want to know what your major is so that you can begin to figure out what classes you need to take to prepare for your major. Then you either need the IGETC done or the 7 required GE courses. And then you need a 3.0 GPA or higher is what we recommend. For some majors, like at UC Davis, you can get in with a 2.8. Same with Santa Cruz. But if you're looking at UCLA or UC Berkeley, you really want to have that GPA on the higher side. All right, so your highest priority should be on completing courses for your major, as I just mentioned. You cannot transfer to the UC as an undeclared student. So you want to know what your major is so that you can start working on those courses. And honestly, the longer it takes you to figure out your major, the longer you could be at a community college. And so making that decision a priority is something that you would want to do if you haven't made that decision yet. UCs typically select applicants who are most prepared for their majors. So they want students to get to them, have that lower division major prep done, go into their upper division coursework for their major, and move on. The UCs are really dedicated to time to degree. So they want students to come to them to complete and to graduate and to move on into a career or maybe into graduate school. So again, full completion of GE is not required for admission. You can do that 7 course pattern if you want to. You do have to have general education completed to graduate from a UC. So if you don't finish IGETC, you would go to the UC and complete their GE pattern. So those high unit majors, many of the schools prefer that students come to them with general education left to do because they can then round out your schedule. So you could have, 2 or 3 classes for your major and then a GE course so that it's not so incredibly heavy. The students that are in a high unit major that do finish IGETC, maybe they decided on their major late and so they, had already done the majority of IGETC and decided to finish it. Maybe they had a lot of AP credit, something like that. So they go, their GE is completed, and they can work on a minor or something like that to round out the schedule. Just kind of opens their availability up a little bit more. All right, so I will go back into articulation and make sure that link is working, and I will have it available in the resources. I'll check in with Kate, our articulation officer, as well to see if it's not working when it will be back up. All right, thanks.